what brings about detention? Many a time, a lot of people are put behind bars when they have not done anything. That, apart from the narratives, he's a researcher. I really didn't know him much. And I had to glance through the book quickly. But there are a few points that I noticed that I feel I should share it with you. I have always been saying this, that until this nation is trained in a way that we shall have what we call culture of resignation, this country can never go forward. Dr. Benjamin Agordzo. While I resigned and I was up north, campaigning for my primaries, I came down to Accra. I was sitting in my room when I saw in the news that Dr. Benjamin Agordzo was arrested with Superintendent Peter Lanchenetogu. And I said, but I'm here. They arrested both of us. I am in my house. That we were planning a coup d'etat. And I said, this level of madness must be checked. While I could sit in the Inspector General of Police office as Executive Secretary to IGP, and I could have access to all the guns that we can think about, I left that, walked back to my village, moving from village to village, looking for votes to become the next member of parliament for West. Here's the case, somebody is now accusing me of a coup plot. That level of madness I don't understand. How can you plot a coup by walking from village to village? I should be plotting a coup back with guns. So I called one minister in the government. Today he's lost his seat. He's a regional minister now. This is what I'm hearing. In case the BNN are looking for me, tell me so that I walk there myself. Because I can't be arrested while I'm sitting in my house. After an hour, he never got back to me, but I saw it on Joy News. That, oh no, Peter was not even on the radar. He's never been thought of. He's not part of anything. But I said, is it true that doctor has been arrested? He said, yes. And that was the beginning of a patriotic man moving into the next stage of persecution. In fact, this is from patriotism through persecution to freedom. Dr. Benjamin Agordzo, your freedom has established you above another level of pedestal. And I want to believe that God has his own way of raising people. If I had asked you to live with me, you have refused to do that. God has his own way of pushing you out. You are pushed out by force, and you are forced to be writing books. After this book, you will find something to do, and Ghana will be proud of you. I know it is coming, and it's very soon.
Members from the academia, it is with great excitement and honor that I stand before you today as we embark on this journey of launching this book together. I want to thank you each. I want to thank each and every one of you for your presence and support. When I realized on the evening of 4th November 2019, at the then BNI, and I prefer calling them BNI because that is what evokes that kind of feeling in me. At the then BNI office, that my detention was imminent, I well understood the challenges ahead of me. However, instead of being down-spirited, I saw it as an opportunity to take notes on every experience within the justice system to write my first book. And although I did not have access to pen and paper, in the first few days in custody, especially at the BNI, I began to put my thoughts together on paper as soon as I found myself outside the BNI custody. Little did I know, even at that time, that I was going to write critical commentary on the justice system. I achieved this by taking notes on incidents and interactions with my co-accused persons, both in and outside the courtroom, concerning our case, juxtaposing these incidents and interactions with standard practice through research, followed by analysis and drawing conclusions. By the time judgment was given, ladies and gentlemen, I had finished with the book except chapters 25 and 27. And this is understandably so, because chapter 25 was about, it's titled The Final Judgment, Much Ado About Nothing, and then chapter 27 is also about whether this whole coup plot was orchestrated. Before my arrest and trial, I thought I had a fair idea of our justice system. But experiencing it myself made me see things differently. I must admit that a critical commentary on the justice system, especially on our courts and judiciary, is not a popular one in Ghana. This is partly because of the fear that the powers of the courts have in imprisoning people, and partly because of the possibility of being hauled before those courts for contempt cases. Consequently, I have taken steps in this book, which is about to be launched, not to malign any judge or denigrate the courts. But I must admit that my book is not for the faint-hearted. I repeat, I must admit that my book is not for those who have faint hearts. It is also meant to provoke the actors in our justice system to accept reform, which, in my opinion, appears to have sent many innocent persons to prison. This is why I see the completion of this book as a call to duty, which I have responded to. Using my almost 5 years trial involving other 9 accused persons as a case study, and armed with all the relevant disclosures and proceedings of the court, and utilizing my 35 years investigative experience as well as my academic analytic prowess, I can only conclude by agreeing with Professor Kweku Asari, popularly called Kweku Azar, in the foreword to my book, and I quote, that the numerous evidential misconduct and prosecutorial overreach on the part of the BNI and NIB and the Attorney General's office, if it were not for those ones, many of those convicted may have found themselves in the freedom that I enjoy today. In other words, there were a lot of misconduct on the part of the Attorney General. There were a lot of misconduct and even biases in the courts. And I have documented all this with evidence. I have not exaggerated anything. And I have mentioned names as well. In addition, if those convicted had adequate resources to get renowned experts to challenge especially the audios and the videos which are believed to be heavily doctored, the outcome of the case may not have been the same. And there are lawyers who are here to bear me out on that issue. Without necessarily contesting the judgment of the court on this matter, my book is aimed at calling for real justice for the convicted person, in accordance with the concept of procedural justice and which is in line with the celebrated dictum of Lord Heward of England in 2024, and I quote, "It is not merely of some importance, but of fundamental importance that justice should not only be done, but should be manifestly and undoubtedly be seen to be done," unquote.